Welcome back to the channel. This is John of Kaduna reporting for duty on #Sustainable Sunday. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you can switch to the sustainable side of life while also making money for yourself. Everyone always wants a good deal. Everyone wants a fair deal. Everyone wants something that everyone wants something that could be of benefit to them in one way or the other. And today I'm trying to tell you things that you can do to help you live more sustainably, help you save the planet, help you save the environment, at the same time save money in your pocket. Now, some of these tips are things that you don't actually have to spend any money on. It's just things that you already do, but just make you more mindful of some of these things, and at the same time helping you save money. While there are some of the tips that are going to make you spend some money, but actually is a great investment. It helps you save money in the long run. Now let's start with food. With food, try to find ways to make the best use of your food scraps. Now there are ways in Nigeria, especially in the southwestern part of Nigeria. I know that especially Yoruba people, they make use of the peels of their yams to make another yam meal, to make black amala. They don't throw away their yam peels. After they peel the yam, after they've used the yam to pound yam or boil yam, you will still see in some of their houses they are drying the yam peels to actually use it to make yam flour. And also in some parts of the northern Nigeria, I know that they use the burnt parts of maybe rice or cornmeal to actually make another meal. So it just shows different ways that people actually make use of food scraps, or even foods that might have started to go bad. For instance, overripe bananas. You can use them to make banana bread, banana cakes. Overripe plantains, you can use them to make mosas. They're like these snacks that a lot of people love. So there are different ways that you could try to find out how you could make the best use of your food scraps or foods that overripe or are already on the edge of going bad. Let's talk about food. For foods that you cannot salvage, or maybe food scraps that there is nothing that you can actually do with them, you could compost them. Instead of throwing those food scraps or the food waste and throwing them into landfill and then generate more methane for us, why don't you actually gather these food scraps and compost them? And one thing about composting, you can compose as long as you have an entire building to yourself, you live alone, or you even live with your family. You can compose in different ways. There are different ways that you could compose that could be convenient for you, and you could research about that. I myself want to start composting to try to catch those nutrients that will have turned to methane and actually use them for a garden. Now, talking about gardening, a time is coming in the world that almost everyone should try to at least have a little garden. And maybe it's just one food you're growing at the back of your house or inside your house, because there are different gardening techniques that people use, and there are different ways you could garden. Even if you do not have enough space around your house, you could actually garden within your house. There are different ways that you could do that, and you could research on that, and Uncle Google is your best friend. You could do that. You could actually Google ways that you could garden within your home, different things that you could actually start growing within your household. And if you're having pepper at the back of your backyard, you're not going to be bothered about the price of pepper in the market. You're saving money sense, at the same time living sustainably. Also talking about food, everyone knows. Okay, let me not say everyone knows, but a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of you watching me know that it's actually cheaper to cook in than to eat out. Yes, eating out is great sometimes, change the ambience, change of scenery, trying to be more adventurous, or trying to eat something that you can't always have at home. That is great. It shouldn't be a recurring thing. It shouldn't be an everyday thing. Eating out should be like a once in a while thing when you cannot cook thing. But because cooking is a life essential, and cooking in actually helps you save money and makes your pockets grow faster, and at the same time you're in control of what is being put in your meals, you're in control of how your food processing goes on. instead of leaving all that in the power of people that you don't know. Whatever the serve is, whatever they serve you. So you could have control over your meals and actually save money for yourself by cooking it. Also trying to shop locally. Will also help us a lot. Instead of relying on imported food items. I know in Nigeria, yes, we are still an import heavy economy, but there are some foodstuffs that are readily available, seasonal foods that are readily available, and are greater alternatives to some of the imported jargons that we eat that are sometimes not very healthy for us. So try to shop locally, try to look for local alternatives and at the same time saving money, because most times these local alternatives are way cheaper, especially in Nigeria, way cheaper than the foreign alternative. There are some things that you might need to spend a bit of money initially, but in the long run they help you save money. And an example of this is a reusable water bottle and also a water dispenser. Now, water dispenser, some people are like, water dispenser is more expensive than for me to buy packs upon packs of water or bags upon bags of sachet water. But in a real sense, the water dispenser is cheaper, especially if you can afford to. I always have this mindset that if you can afford to buy packs upon packs of bottled water, then you can actually afford to buy water dispenser. I know some people that buy bags upon bags of sachet water, they might not have that spending power or purchasing power, but if you are looking towards buying packs upon packs of plastic bottled water, look well, you can actually afford to buy water dispenser. I don't know how much a water dispenser goes for right now. I think I'll leave the amount on the screen somewhere, but I remember when we bought our water dispenser, it was year 2010, and we've used it ever since. At that time, I think my mom bought it for around like 5,000 to 8,000 naira at that time. That was how much she bought it, and it has served us well, and it is still serving us. All you have to do is just buy the refillable water bottle with the water inside. When you're done with the water, you take it to the shop that you buy your water from, your dispenser water from, and they give you a filled bottle while you drop your empty bottle with them. And that is like a circular thing, which is great for me. And also, if you're looking at the economics of it all, a pack of bottled water, a pack of plastic bottled water could go for within 700 to 1,000 naira, depending on the brand and where you're buying it from. And in a household like mine, like we are a family of 5, in a household like mine, that pack is not going to take us more than 3 days. It's not going to take us more than 3 days. Whereas a dispenser bottle is going to usually takes us within 4 to 5 days, and it's cheaper. A dispenser bottle, the most expensive that I've seen is 600 naira, like the water in it. Initially, when you're buying it without the water, I think when you're buying the bottle like fresh from the factory with the water in it, it goes for I think 1,002 or so. But when you're going to exchange for a refillable option, you only buy the water for 600 naira, which is cheaper than buying 800 to 1,000 for a pack of bottled water that we're going to spend 3 times the money within 1 week. So having a dispenser and a refillable dispenser bottled water is a way cheaper alternative, and moreover, it's more sustainable because you do not have to worry about all those plastic bottles that are just the absolute worst. Also, talking about water, some of us, when we're brushing, we use that time for the water to make audition for us. You brush when you want to brush, you put you on the tap, you wet your brush, you're brushing, but the tap is still on and water is still going. Water bill is increasing by the splash of water. Okay, if you say, I don't have to worry about water bill because I do not use the government water or water board or whatever, but you still have to pump this water. And for you to pump this water, you need power, you need energy to actually pump this water, and you're letting all that water waste. The resources that you need to actually power the pumping machine to pump more water for you, when you could actually have saved that 1 glass of water or 2 glasses of water that has gone down the drain. So it also has to do with also our shower. When you're trying to let the hot water come out, you're letting the cold water just waste. For you to make the best use of that water could be by capturing the water, and if you have plants or you have that garden that you've been wanting to start, you use the water for your garden instead of letting it waste and letting the resources that goes into pumping that water waste. This also translates to washing. For instance, I am a culprit of this. I hand wash my clothes, and whenever I'm rinsing my clothes, I let the tap run while I'm rinsing. To me, it's like I'm letting the clothes rinse very well. When in the actual sense, I'm actually wasting water. I could have just let the bucket be full, rinse my clothes. If they are not well rinsed, I pour out that water and rinse again instead of wasting another bucket, in the sense that I am letting my clothes rinse. It's not making sense because I'm wasting the water. Repurposing and reusing is a very important aspect in sustainable living. And as an African and as a Nigerian living in Nigeria, I've seen this firsthand, that a lot of us, we actually repurpose and reuse a lot of things that we find around us, and we're doing great for that. And maybe it comes from a place of lack, or the fact that we do not always have ready access to a lot of things around us. But at the same time, it's actually helping us, because it's helping us live sustainably, and it makes us be more creative in finding ways to take care of our needs. In most Nigerian households, you always find that cloth that is a rag. It was someone's shirt or someone's towel that has now turned to a floor rag, or it has turned to a table rag, because we always find ways to repurpose things in our homes. You always find bottles or cans or jars of food produce or spices that were not actually bought, like those were not what they were actually bought in. Those were not the original containers. We always find ways to repurpose things all around us because we have sense. But anyhow, we always find ways to repurpose things around us, and that is great. And it helps us save money. If you look at it in the long run, it might come from a sufferhead point of view, but if you look at it more critically, it helps us save money, and we'll use the money that we have to do other things that are also more beneficial to us. Now, talking about reusing and reusing and repurposing and all, use your paper to the fullest of its potential. Now, if people say paper, but it's just paper. Yes, it's just paper, but trees are cut in the forest to be able to make those papers that you call it just paper. And we are already talking about, there's a lot of deforestation in our forests, and we are not having as enough trees as we need because we are cutting a lot of the trees. So why don't you save one tree today by using that paper and reusing it to the fullest of its potential, and not just mindlessly writing just one line and throwing it away. Now the world is more digital, and it has helped us to get a lot of these things that have been used on paper on our phone screens, on our tablet screens, on our computer screens, and that is great. And this also goes for magazines and newspapers. Thankfully, a lot of news platforms are now digitalized. We have a lot of digital newspapers, digital magazines, so it would do us a lot of good if you could ditch more of the normal newspapers and ditch more of the printed newspapers and magazines, and do more of the screen things. Do more of the digital versions of them. They will help you in the long run. It helps you save money, or it's just your normal data subscription. You continue reading the news and the magazines that you have gone out to buy for an extra 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 naira. You have it on your phone. Also, about paper, in the whole paper line, if you could avoid buying new books and buying printed copies instead, or go for the digital versions of them. Someone like me that does not really like digital versions of books, printed copies is a more sustainable option, or even borrowing is more sustainable, and it saves you money rather than actually buying the original, like actually buying the new copy, especially when it's just launched, because it's more expensive at that point. There is this thing where people do book swaps, where you could swap a book that you have that someone needs for another book that someone has and you need, and you swap it, and when you're done, you guys swap your thing back. We usually used to do this when we were younger. Why aren't you doing it again? Another thing is, if there is a thrifted version of something that is okay for you, I believe it's better you actually buy it, because it's going to be cheaper than actually buying like the brand new version of that thing. If you can, please go for a thrifted version instead of a brand new version. Another thing again is, if another way you can save money is, if it's something that can be rented, please rent it. Especially, for instance, there are clothes that you might only need for just one occasion and you might never have a need for it again, aka wedding dresses. If it's possible, please thrift them. So if it's possible, please borrow them. You only borrow them for the amounts of time that you're using them, and for a fraction of what you have originally bought the entire wedding dress for, or a tuxedo that you might never use again, or even like big cooking utensils, party things for parties and all that. You could actually borrow them just for a fraction of what you have originally bought the entire set, but you might not use it another 20 years when someone is getting married in your family again. And shop from your friend's closet, shop from your sister's closet, your brothers. Shop from people's, if you can, shop from your friend's closet or borrow from your friends and family if you can. I know there's a gray area around this, especially in Nigeria, where there's the see finish thing and there's the people broadcasting that, oh, you borrow from them and all that. There's a gray area around that. But if you can, if you have people that have sense around you, please borrow. It helps you save money. For instance, I'm about to go for a wedding and I'm going to go with a white bag, and I do not have a white bag, and I'm not going to go about buying a white bag when my sister at home has a white bag. I'm going to borrow from her and I'll save money, and I'd rather carry that money for a white bag to buy a blue bag that both of us will share. So if you can, please borrow from your shop. If you can, please borrow, shop from your friend's closet, your family member's closet, and to help your pockets in the long run. Now another thing, something again is transportation. Now I will say public transportation, but in Nigeria, public transportation is just something else. A lot of us still use public transportation, but basically it's because we have no choice. That's why a lot of us use public transportation. From the vehicles that are being used are of very questionable conditions, to poor security, to things like that. We need a lot to be done in the public transportation sector for us, so that we can be able to actually use it to the best of our ability. And if today we want public transportation to be so good that if I want to choose between actually buying a car and using public transportation, it should be something, public transportation should be something that I could actually be considering. But at the moment where we are in Nigeria, public transportation is just something. But it's something that if it was in a country that it was more effort was put towards that area, that would have been something that is cheaper, because you will not have to bother about vehicle maintenance and fuel wahala. You will not have to go and be fighting at the fuel station because of fuel, because it will be cheaper for you to use public transportation. But at the same time, if you have colleagues that live around you that have a car, and you can give fuel money, because there's this thing about Nigerians, we always want our wolf, but we don't want to give back. Someone has a car, he's going to bother about the maintenance of his car, he's going to bother about his fuel, and he's helping you to cut costs and for you to be living more sustainably, because you are not really pressed to go buy your own car and have to worry about more cars congesting the roads. Your friend or your colleague has a car, the least you can do is give fuel money. It's just that a lot of Nigerians don't have sense like that. You're supposed to give fuel money and you live more sustainably, and you're getting more money in your pockets. You're saving more money that maybe in the long run if you actually buy your electric car when things are better. Another reusable option that I love and I personally use that could also save you money in the long run is reusable period options, reusable period alternatives like period cups, reusable pads, and period underwear. Now these are reusable period options, and they might cost a bit in the initial time. They might cost a bit initially, but in the long run they are way cheaper. And let me do the maths for you. Likely it's a situation that I'm more familiar with, and that is reusable pads. I bought a pack of reusable pads for 2,000 naira. Now, if you're talking to someone about switching to reusable pads, but you bought it for 2,000 naira, and me, I'm just buying a pack of pads for 500 naira. Okay, let's do the math. You're buying a pack of pads for 500 naira, but we all know that for most women, a pack of pads is not going to do you. You need 2 packs of pads. Now you buy 2 packs of pads, that is 1,000 naira in a month. So you're using, for 12 months, you have used 12,000 naira on pads. In 2 years, you have used 24,000 naira on pads. This reusable pad that I have bought for 2,000 naira, I can use it for at least 2 years. You have used 24,000 naira in 2 years. I have used 2,000 naira in 2 years. Which is more expensive? Be the judge of that in the comment section down below. Now, I hope that with these tips that I have given you, it could help you to see that you could actually live more sustainably, and at the same time, don't move very far from the things that you're doing. And at the same time, you don't have to break the bank while doing so. And at the same time, you're saving money while doing so, and helping yourself and helping the environment in the long run. And if you can just adopt at least one of these tips that I've given you, you're doing well. That's all I can tell you. You're doing well, and your reward is in your pocket. If you have any other sustainable tips that you feel could help people, that you feel could help save money, please leave it in the comment section down below. I would love to learn from you. At the same time, just as you're loving to learn from me, and I know that if you have watched this video up to now, that means you love me and you love this video. Please leave a like, click that like thing somewhere on the screen, the like icon, that like, it looks like thumbs up like this, like it. Thank you. And also subscribe if you've not subscribed. And if this is your first time here, welcome to Journey of Kaduna. Here we talk about sustainable living, a bit about climate action, a bit about climate impact, and travel. But there's no money for travel, so I'm still gathering the money to travel. But till we have travel content, which will be coming very soon, enjoy sustainable living content. Thank you for watching, and also share this video too, so that the gospel reach all and sundry. So until my very next video, remember that you can be the change that you want to see in the world. Journey of Kaduna, signing out.